I said go live. Hey, I think we're live, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what I'm doing that voice for, but I'm just getting that Friday feeling. How are you doing, everybody, one and all, wherever you're watching this from? And I know by now that you're watching this from all around the world. Sam here, live. It's United People's TV. It's the latest Manchester United transfer news. You know where to get it now, here on United People's TV. So make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you leave me comments throughout the entire live stream, as you always do. There were quite literally about 2,500 comments on the video yesterday over on YouTube and on Facebook combined. That's mad. That's absolutely mad. As always, fire in your comments where you're watching it from. And as we saw yesterday, I've got a new live and interactive map. You have to leave me where you're watching it from, the town and the country, so I can add you to the map. If you want to ask me questions, it's best to do so in super chats because there are so many comments from where you're watching it from. I miss all your questions. But in today's show, we are talking about Eduardo Camavinga and the expected bid for Manchester United in the next few days and the transfer bidding war that Rennes are trying to make happen. Then we've got Paul Pogba and PSG. We've got Raphael Varane. What's going on with him? It's gone a little bit quiet. We've got Berbatov suggesting we sign an England player. Who is that? Let's speak about that. We'll talk about Tahith Chong's future, Anthony Martial's future. And if there's any questions you want to ask me throughout the live stream, you ask me in the comments and I'll try and answer as many as possible. But as we do always at the start of every single live stream, let's head over to our new stunning interactive map and let's see where we're watching from. Like Frankie Benson watching from Belfast in Ireland. Good morning to you, Frankie. How are you doing, my friend? It's been a while since I've been to Belfast. I've got a lot of family in Derry. Belfast, there you go. On the map you go. Let's see where else we've got. Oh, look at that. Raphael Prosek watching from Edinburgh in Scotland. Up you go, Scotland. Welcome to the map. This is a great idea. So we've got 44 pins on the map so far. Let's see how many more we can get. Like Pogba Abraham watching from California. Oakland, California. In you get. Wicked. Let's see where else we've got this morning. We've got, look at that. Garib watching from Kathmandu. Can I spell Kathmandu? I hope you're spelling it right. There you go. Kathmandu in Nepal. Good morning to you. And someone's fired in a super chat. Gonna have to see what that is. Oh man, there's so many comments coming in. Victorim. Good morning to you, Victorim. You were a G last time in super chats. Hi, Sam, and from Melbourne, Australia. Melbourne, I'm pretty sure Melbourne's already on the map. Let me make sure. Actually, I don't know if it is. Well, it's going to go on now. Just for you, Victor. Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Add you to the map. Look at that. Beautiful. So you have to have a little scroll out on the map here. See where we're all watching from here. It's good fun, isn't it? Man. As you can see, this is only from yesterday's stream and from today's stream. Look how round the world all of you are. New Zealand's just off the map there. It's awesome. But you're asking about any news on Pogba to PSG. There's plenty of news on Pogba. There's plenty of news on Camavinga. And I'm going to run through all of it now, starting with Eduardo Camavinga. Now, if you follow the People's Person, which obviously you do, for the latest transfer news, you would have read this excellent article from Red Billy this morning covering the latest on Eduardo Camavinga. And this is coming from The Athletic. The Athletic are leading the story here with Camavinga. And it's complicated it a little bit somewhat. I think that's a fair thing to say. Manchester United have been interested in Camavinga apparently for a long time, for a couple of years. An interesting point here they made that we were considering signing him a couple of years ago, but we went for Hannibal Medbury instead. Hannibal, who's now broken into the first, well, he's not broken into the first team, but he's exceeding expectations at his current age level. But we went after him instead, and we didn't sign Eduardo Camavinga. Now, apparently he is our primary midfield target. That is what a lot of people have said. You've got Mohamed Bahafsi and Fabrizio Romano both saying that he's United's top midfield target this summer. And if you haven't read it, there's an interview on thepeoplesperson.com with Get French Football News' Rich Allen. And we kind of spoke to him because he's a Rennes fan and a Rennes journalist as well. Kind of spoke to him in depth about it. And he's saying that 30 to 40 million is the fee that will get you Eduardo Camavinga. But this is what Laurie Whitwell's had to say on The Athletic this morning. Let me run through this, and then I can see a super chat coming in from Lone Wanderer from Sheffield, England. You're getting added to the map, my friend. Don't worry about that. I haven't missed that comment. But let's speak about what Laurie Whitwell had to say on Eduardo Camavinga, because it's important to understand. United have explored his signing, but sources say any move will be complicated as Camavinga has lots of options. A switch to Real Madrid or Barcelona is believed to appeal to the player, which is a bit mad considering how in the pits both of them are financially. And they're saying that he could yet decide to sit out his final 12 months and join a club when finances across Europe have recovered further from COVID. Bayern Munich are interested. Rennes will hope to spark a bidding war for Camavinga. PSG are said to be keen. Now, this is, I suppose, the interesting point here. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. Do you think that there's going to be a bidding war for Camavinga? Do you think that United will be happy to enter a bidding war? It strikes me at that point that if there is going to be a bidding war, that United need to go in aggressive and quick now for Eduardo Camavinga. But before we move on, we've got Ad Lone Wanderer onto the map. Sheffield, England, my friend. Thank you very much for the super chat. Sheffield, United Kingdom. It's been a long time since I went to Sheffield. My God. When was it? Second year of university, I think. Tuesday Club in Sheffield. Amazing night out, from what I remember, which isn't that much. But let's head back to Eduardo Camavinga. Keep leaving your comments. As always, let me know where you're watching it from. If you have any comments you actually want to ask me, probably better firing in super chats because there's too many comments coming in. I can't really keep on top of it. I keep saying that, but I'm not lying. Now, do you think that there will be a bidding war for Camavinga, or do you think that this is something that United can go move aggressive, move quickly, and avoid a bidding war? Because if we were to hypothetically go in now with 40 million for Camavinga, would Rennes just accept? Or would it be like if you've got a house on the open market and you want to get like 6-7 viewings to try and spark a bidding war behind the scenes? Do you think that's something that Rennes would like to do? I think probably that is something that Rennes would like to do. But it's not something that would suit Manchester United. It's not something that would suit any club, really. Nobody wants to enter a bidding war for any player. It complicates the matter. It makes it muddy. It makes it just painful to go through, really. What a club really wants is, well, a club that's signing a player anyway, to know the fee, to go and pay the fee, get it done, sweet, easy. But Camavinga, because he's got 1 year left on his contract and because he's clearly going to be one of the biggest sales that Rennes makes right now, they want to try and get the most from him, which is understandable. But the interesting point here from, as you can see from the title of the video as well, is from Fabrizio Romano saying, we will see if Manchester United will make an official bid to Rennes in the coming days, which I think they will do. They are very serious about signing him. So this is exciting. This is Fabrizio saying, look, Man United want Camavinga. Man United are going to go aggressively for Camavinga, and Man United are going to make a bid for Camavinga in the next few days. Now, this is an exciting part of it because, as I said, I think United need to go fast with Camavinga, because if we delay it too long, it gives the opportunity for other clubs to take a step above, to go to take over United in this race for Camavinga, which is apparently what it is. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. But before I move on, we're going to have to head back to the map because, as I can see, I'm going to add 5 new pins to the map. There are so many coming in. Let me see where you're from. We've got Jermaine watching from Kingston, Jamaica. Good morning to you, Jermaine. How are you doing, my friend? How is it in Kingston? I'd love to go to Jamaica. I haven't been in that part of the world yet. At some point I will. Just don't know when. Seeing as traveling is not really recommended in any way, shape or form. Let me see what else we've got here. We've got Theo watching from Cape Town in South Africa. How are you doing, my friend? Again, South Africa is a place I'd love to go. Obviously, been to Ghana, but there's so much more of Africa I'd love to see. I think we've already got. We've seen you before, Rusty Steele from Northern Ireland. How you doing? Let me see what else we've got here. Lagos, Nigeria. How you doing, Lagos? How you doing, Nigeria? There are plenty of Nigerians fans on here watching United People's TV from all around the world. We've got Jelko, cool, watching from Bremen in Germany. That's a new one. On you get, Bremen. By the end of us doing this, we are going to have so many pins on this map. It's going to be incredible. We've got SB Stunner on YouTube watching from Texas and the US of A. How you doing? Good morning to you. We'll do one more. I think there's a super chat coming in there. Going to have to go and have a look at that. Let me check it out. Too many comments coming through. Anuj, how you doing, my friend? Watching from Aurangabad. Let me see if I spelt that right. I probably didn't. Aurangabad. There we go. On the map. Thank you very much for super chat, my friend. You are now in the gang and on the map. Let's have a quick scroll out. Actually, no, don't need to scroll out. We've got 54 map points there. But let's move quickly on there from speaking about Eduardo Camavinga, because as important as this Camavinga situation is, it seems very much that Paul Pogba is tied into it. And I didn't really think it would be, but it sounds like it is. Now, if you haven't really read the news on Paul Pogba in the last couple of days, I'll give you a sort of a brief update on it. But Paul Pogba, we all know he's got 1 year left on his contract. Everybody knows that. And that means that United are in a tough situation, because we either need to get Paul Pogba to sign a new contract this summer, or we risk losing him on a free next summer, or we sell him this summer. The three options: new contract, sell him this summer, lose him on a free next summer. Third option is not one that Manchester United will want to take, understandably so. So that leaves us two real options: get Paul Pogba to sign a new contract, or sell Paul Pogba. Let me know in the comments what you think is the best option there for Manchester United out of those two: getting Pogba to sign a new contract, or selling Pogba. What's going to help Manchester United the most? Because that's what we have to do. We have to be selfish as a club and do what is best for the club. But PSG, you've seen what they're doing this summer. They've got Donnarumma on a free. They've got Sergio Ramos on a free. They got, can't remember the name of the right back from Inter Milan. Damn it, can't remember his name. Anyway, they're going big this summer. Their team looks ridiculous now. And if you add Paul Pogba into that as well, it gets even more crazy. And I think that's the situation that that United find themselves in that PSG are going big, and they're clearly going for the Champions League next year, because surely if there's ever a year they're going to win the Champions League, it is going to be this time. Before we quickly move on, though, we've got Caleb coming in from Brisbane with a super chat. How you doing, Caleb? Thank you very much for that. Let me add you onto the map, my friend. Brisbane, Australia. That was my Australian accent. Well, I think it was bad. I should probably stop that now. Probably offensive. Right, on you go. Thank you very much, Caleb. Big up to you. But yeah, this Pogba situation for me is a complicated one. I'm going to head to the comments and see what you think about this, because I actually really want to know what you think here. We've got Norman. You're saying extend Pogba's contract and continue to bid for another midfielder going on. We've got Chetha. You're saying Pogba must stay. We can't lose another class player like him. Watching from Phnom Penh in Cambodia. Big up to Phnom Penh. We've got QC. I'm going to go with Jess Lender because I can't pronounce your first name. I think he's going to leave. I think he's keen to leave since PSG got Ramos there. Hakimi. That's Hakimi. That's the one. Donnarumma there. It's France. Makes him comfortable, I assume. Maybe. I don't know. But it's interesting to see what goes on with Pogba this summer. It's very, very confusing. Thank you very much, Abby, for the super chat. What's up, Sam? Camavinga bid. Good. PSG should sign Pogba if he does not want to stay. And I suppose that's the big thing there. Because as we saw from Paul Pogba last year, he really looked like he was enjoying playing for Manchester United, didn't he? He was playing free-flowing football. We had Bruno Fernandes coming in. Cavani was going through. We got to the Europa League final. We were challenged. Well, we were top of the league at one point, and then our asses fell out, and then we just dropped off. If Paul Pogba wants to stay and play for Manchester United, I want him to be there. But it's very hard to know that, isn't it? It's very hard to judge because you can only look from the outside. You can't really understand and know what's going on with Paul Pogba. But if PSG come in big for Paul Pogba this summer, I could very much see Manchester United selling him. And that's my own opinion. I'm not basing that on anything. That's just what my gut is telling me. Because if you look, we're going after Camavinga. Look, for the past 5 or 6 days, Man United have been really serious on a deal. And Camavinga, he will 100% not extend his contract with Rennes. Now, there's a lot of people that are saying that Pogba and Camavinga's future are sort of linked, tied together. I don't know whether that's the case or not, but given that PSG are both linked with Camavinga and linked with Pogba, you kind of be surprised if they weren't here. We've got Anuj here with a super chat. Thank you very much, mate. Do you think Camavinga will get directly into the first team? Should Ole keep Martial for another year as a backup for Cavani? Another chance, maybe. I'm speaking about Martial later in the stream. Thank you very much for that question. Do I think Camavinga will get directly into the first team? Absolutely. I don't think we would be looking at a player as our priority midfield option this summer if he wasn't somebody who the club felt could come in and go straight into the first team. That would just be madness, given the fact that we really desperately need strengthening in central midfield. That's my own opinion again. And given the fact that Amad Diallo did come in and go straight into the first team. He didn't get many minutes given, but he came in and went straight into the first team. And I would probably put Camavinga in the same category as him, not only for the fact that they're just 18, but maybe in fact, that's probably been unfair on Camavinga because he's already made his France debut. He's already had like 60 odd appearances for Rennes in Ligue 1. Whereas when we signed Amad Diallo, he'd only played like 90 minutes for Atalanta in Serie A. Someone like Camavinga is far more experienced at his age. Not massively experienced, but more experienced. Someone who, of course, is extremely experienced is Raphael Varane. So I'll skip on to him. And I will say at the moment, there's not much movement on Varane. There's not much updates. You saw here a couple of days ago, we covered it saying that Manchester United were given permission to speak to Raphael Varane's representatives by Real Madrid. Now, that was the latest that we've really got on Raphael Varane. He, as you see here, he is now enjoying himself out on holiday. To right, had a long season with Corona, had a long Euro, and actually not that long of Euros because they got knocked out by Switzerland, unlucky France. But he's out. He's chilling on holiday. He's not going to be joining Manchester United any real time soon, I don't think. I think the Varane one is, of all the transfers that United are linked with this summer, I think the Varane situation is the one that's going to drag out the longest. My own personal gut instinct. You can let me know what you think in the comment. Abby here. Thanks for super chat. As SAF would say, no one is bigger than the club. Blood-sucking Mino Raiola would want the best deal for him and Paul Pogba. And that's exactly it, because there aren't many people in the world that can afford Paul Pogba and afford Paul Pogba's wages. And PSG are probably the only club who can do it this summer now. Real Madrid would obviously have been another club, but they're skint. Barcelona could have been a club, but they're skint. Bayern Munich don't really need a player like Pogba, so they're not going to go out and sign him. You could go Man City, but I don't think United would do that. There's very little options for Paul Pogba this summer, so it's not really worked out in his favour, because Mino Raiola would love a situation where Real Madrid were in for him, PSG were in for him, Barca were in for him, City were in for him, and it was a free-for-all feeding frenzy on Paul Pogba for the fact that he's only got 1 year left on his deal. But the fact of the matter is that not many teams can afford him, and Pogba's options are quite limited. And if you're looking at Manchester United as a club, look, we've had a rough 7 years since Fergie. We've lost a lot of our shine, we've lost a lot of our reputation, and we're tarnished. We're rebuilding that. But right now, the club is in the strongest position it has been in a long time to genuinely challenge. We finished second last year, and on top of that, this summer we've added Jadon Sancho, which should be a sign to Paul Pogba that we're serious. We're really going for it now. But the club have to follow that up by signing a centre-back like Raphael Varane, by signing a central midfielder like Eduardo Camavinga. And I think it's important that the club does that, because if you don't do that, and look, the best situation that I can explain on that is when Wayne Rooney gave in his transfer request, and I fell out with Rooney for a long time over that. But I'll put my hands up and say right now that, you know, he was right all along. He was right to question the club's ambition, and he was right to sort of point that out at the time. It was painful because he was the first player who really broke Fergie, in my opinion, and that's what hurt me the most by seeing that Rooney situation. But right now, we have to make sure that we bring the signings in to keep Paul Pogba interested in United as a project, because he wants to win trophies, man. He's a winner. A few super chats coming in here. One from Victorim. Thank you very much, Victorim, saying, it worries me why United haven't made any progress on the Varane situation, since we're the only club interested. Apparently, Koundé wants the United move. Now, we covered that yesterday on the People's Person, saying that Sevilla are sort of slashing the price of him because no one's really coming in for him. That could be an advantage to United. It could be a disadvantage. Probably an advantage more than anything. But yeah, I suppose I'm a little bit worried on the Varane situation. But as I've just said there, I think personally, the Varane one is going to be the one that drags out the longest this summer. It was Jadon Sancho last summer. For me, it strikes me that's going to be Raphael Varane this summer. Before I head on to the next super chat, thank you very much for sending these all in, ladies and gents. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're new and watching on YouTube. And make sure you share the video if you're watching it on Facebook, because it helps the channel and it helps grow. And it's all free to do. Jason McCarthy, big up to you, my friend. Any word on getting rid of the deadwood around the club from Clare in Ireland? Let me add you onto the map, my friend. Is it County Clare? I think it's County Clare. Clare in Ireland. Yeah, it is County Clare. Go on then. Big up. Any news on the deadwood? There's nothing really on Phil Jones, who is the deadest of wood. Nothing on him being sold just yet. We've obviously got rid of Romero. Pereira to Lazio. I haven't really heard any updates on that as of the last week or two, but apparently he's going back to Lazio. That'll be a good thing for him, and it'll be a good thing for United. But thank you very much for your comment there, Jason. We've got a comment here from Christian saying, will Camavinga become like Martial? Pogba needs to stay. Man United need him alongside Bruno. And I think you're not the only one that thinks that, Christian, because Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes as a central midfield pairing in front of an elite level defensive midfielder has to be considered an absolutely elite level midfield. And United should be keeping hold of their best players if we are serious about challenging for the Premier League and the Champions League next year, which we've heard all along that we are. But we now need to see the club match that ambition by going out and getting a centre-back like Raphael Varane to sort our defensive midfield problems. Maybe going out and getting a midfielder like Eduardo Camavinga, who could potentially surprise us all. Let's see what goes on here. We've got a Sty from Port Elizabeth in South Africa. Good morning to you. Hope we can get all our targets this summer and challenge my first ever super chat on YouTube. Big up to you. Big up to the first super chat. Port Elizabeth. There you go, Nelson Mandela Bay. Beautiful, again, beautiful place. I would love to come and visit. I hope we get all our targets as well, my friend. But let's see what goes on. And there's another super chat fired in from our Bulgarian friend here, Manuel. How you doing, Manuel? Imagine Pogba's new salary. Prefer to sell him and invest, but we need a proper backup, to be honest. I doubt we're taking Varane. I think United are going to get Varane. Famous last words there. But it feels, as I've said before, it feels a little bit different this summer with Real Madrid. You know, previously with Sergio Ramos, it was painful. It didn't really feel like United ever really had a chance of signing Sergio Ramos, and lo and behold, he went and signed a new contract. It's different this summer. They've obviously got rid of Sergio Ramos. He's gone to PSG. Raphael Varane's only got 1 year left on his contract, and Real Madrid need money this summer before they can go out and make new signings. And that is why it's important. And Christian, you're watching from Sydney in Australia. I think Sydney's already on the map. Let's have a look. 57 map points. Oh my God. And I can't keep up. Right. Sydney, you're getting added anyway. Sydney. Or maybe it tells you if you've added it. Sydney, on you go. Sydney's on the map now. Thank you very much, Christian, for your super chat. As always, keep firing them in if you want yourself added to this map. We've got 58 map points now. Let's have a little zoom out and see where we're all watching us from. Honestly, this is only 2 days old, this map. 2 days old. Today's stream and yesterday's stream. And just fucking look at that. Sorry for swearing, but it's amazing. Look at that. All the way over there to California through... We need some more guys from South America. You're looking pretty quiet down there. Plenty in Africa. We need some from North Africa, actually. Plenty over here. Not much in Eastern Europe. A few in Australia. We need some from Western Australia. Loads around the world. And I'll keep adding throughout the stream. But let's get back to the news. So obviously, Paul Pogba situation, it's an interesting one for me. The Raphael Varane situation, it's gone a bit quiet. Now, someone who obviously impressed in the first game massively so against Croatia was Kalvyn Phillips. And Berbatov has urged Manchester United to go after him. I'm going to read off the comments from what Berbatov had to say here, and you can let me know in the comments what you think about them. He said Kalvyn Phillips stood out again in the semi-final win over Denmark. He's been one of the players of the tournament, and sooner or later, I expect him to leave Leeds for a bigger club. Offers will come in for him after the tournament. He is playing with maturity, agility, knowing when to run with the ball and when to pass. I would like to see him sign for Manchester United. Now, you can let me know what you think about that. Kalvyn Phillips, he's been playing in a midfield too, really, with Declan Rice sitting as the pivot in front of the defence, in front of Maguire and Stones. And Rice has been the disciplined central midfielder, with Kalvyn Phillips given the freedom to be more tenacious, to really sort of run around the pitch, to really sort of be a nuisance to the opposition. That's the sort of position that he's taken up for this England team. And I think he's done it very well. I think he was good against them, although I got slated actually saying that he played good against Denmark. Maybe he didn't, but according to SofaScore, he played better against Denmark than he did in the previous 4 games. So what do I know? Got Ibro here firing in a super chat saying, watching from USA, New Hampshire. Good morning to you, my friend Ibrahim. Let me add you onto the map. New Hampshire. I wonder which is going to get the busiest country. New Hampshire, US of A. In you get there. The pin has been added. Thank you very much for your super chat there, Ibro. Keep firing them in, ladies and gents, and I'll keep adding you onto the map. But going back to what he's saying there, look, United need... I was really, really impressed with Kalvyn Phillips against Croatia. He surprised everybody in that role. I think that was probably his best performance in the tournament so far. But like Declan Rice, I think he's been consistent. I think every single... Well, of course, every England player has been consistent. We're in the final. There's not really a massive weakness. Let me have a look down the comments and see what you're thinking about Kalvyn Phillips. If I can probably... Look, got Victorim, you're saying, I would rather have Rice. We have many players like Phillips. I think Phillips is certainly striking me as more of a box-to-box midfielder than a purely defensive one. And what United need this summer is a purely defensive midfielder. So I would agree in that sense. Let me see what else you're saying here about Kalvyn. I can't read it because there's so many comments about where you're watching it from, which I don't begrudge, but I can't see him. Chris, there you go. Kalvyn Phillips will probably sign to be on the bench. If Van der Beek leaves, then we can consider signing him. I would say that Van der Beek and Kalvyn Phillips, they're certainly a bit different. Obviously, Kalvyn Phillips is a bit box-to-box, but Van der Beek is... They have different characteristics, for sure. Kalvyn Phillips is somebody who's tenacious, his interceptions, his blocks, his tackles. Someone like Van der Beek is more crafty, more guiley. He's good with the ball at his feet. He's good at finding gaps. He's good at interplay. He's good at possession football. A bit of a different footballer than Phillips, in my own opinion. You got Shravan, you are saying 1 second, my friend. I didn't see what that said there. There you go. Shravan, you're saying Phillips works best on a free roam. Now, I think you've probably seen that for England. If you're looking at his heat map here, look, there's not really one position where he's massively staying. He is on a free roam, so that's a fair point. Got Gungshi here. Thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. Good morning to you. We said we can't afford to lose our best players if we seriously want to be title contenders. Either tie Pogba down to a new contract or sell him for as much as possible now. I would rather keep him. Now, you can let me know in the comments now. Do you agree with Gunshi? Would you sell him for as much as possible now? Actually, no, you say you would rather keep him. Let me know what you think. Would you rather, and I said this earlier, but I didn't really see too many comments because there's too many other comments coming through. Would you rather keep Pogba on a new contract, bump a salary, or sell him now and reinvest that money? And always the caveat of that is the fact that with Manchester United, it's rarely a case that we ever really properly reinvest the money. Look at Ronaldo. That's a perfect situation that we didn't really reinvest the money. We got Obertan and Owen and Valencia. That's not replacing Ronaldo. But thank you very much for the comment, Gungshi. And I'll head back. I'll head down to the comments and see what you're saying. Got a comment here from Z is Boss saying, I hope we sign Camavinga. The boy is a beast. Representing from Oshodi in Nigeria, the home of United foreign fans. You should visit someday. Maybe I will, but I will definitely get Oshodi onto the map for you, my friend. Let me have a look. Oshodi, Nigeria. There we go. Is that it? Oshodi? Something? No, that one. That'll do. Thank you very much for super chat, my friend Z. Look, maybe I will visit Nigeria. Maybe when I go back to Ghana, I can pop across to Nigeria. Ibro saying, followed long time. Wish to meet with you one day. And I'll tell you what, I've got something planned in the future that maybe I'll be meeting plenty of you. But heading back to the comment that Gungshi left about Paul Pogba, because I think it's an interesting one. And I want to see what you're saying in the comments below. Because you're completely right, man. If United are really serious about contending for the Premier League next year, we have to keep our best players. You don't just let a player like Paul Pogba go, do you? So let me see what you're all saying about that in the comments, if I can actually. You've got Prince, you're saying keep Pogba. Oluwase, I've nearly got that right. You're saying sell Pogba. Got Tatenda on Facebook. How you doing? Saying let's keep our Pogba and build a team that can compete in England and Europe. We got Andrew Sharp on Facebook saying sell Pogba. He doesn't play for the badge. He plays for the money. Now, as I said, I think I saw a happy Paul Pogba playing last year for United. I really did. I think he wanted to play for United, and it really came through in how he was playing. We've got Happy Coding. You're saying contracts work both ways. If Pogba wants to sit out his contract, he can. And of course he can. But United, man, we lost Paul Pogba on a free transfer once. We really going to go and do it again? That would be nothing short of embarrassing to lose Paul Pogba on a free transfer twice. That's just bad management by the club. Really bad management. But moving on from Paul Pogba, as I said, there's tons of comments coming in. Actually, look, we've got there. Anchor, you're saying if Pogba wants to go, he should be let go. Thank you very much for the super chat, my friend there. Look, if he doesn't want to be at the club, I don't want him at the club. If he doesn't want to be here, I don't want him held at Manchester United against his will. Remember when Ronaldo said that he was being held as a slave? That was a bit weird. But moving on from Paul Pogba to another Frenchman at United that has an uncertain future, Anthony Martial. Now, there's stories coming out from the Express, from Eurosport, that he may be on the way out, either on loan or a permanent transfer. Now you let me know what you think about Anthony Martial, because for me, when he broke through that debut against Liverpool, my God, what a goal that was. And the next game, was it? He scored 2 against Southampton. That year, that breakthrough year under Louis van Gaal, he was absolutely sensational. Anthony Martial was so good. But last year, he fell off a cliff. He really did. And it was a season where Manchester United needed to see whether we could rely on Anthony Martial as our pure number 9. And he showed that we couldn't. He really showed that we couldn't. And for me, that raised alarm bells and questions about whether or not Anthony Martial should be kept at the club. Got a super chat here from Ankur Gupta from Chennai in India. So you're definitely getting added to the map, my friend. Thank you very much from Chennai in India. Boom. Let's talk about Anthony Martial, though. You let me know what you think about him in the comments, and I'll look down to the comments now and see what you're all saying. Because Galton there, you're saying, sell Martial, we have Cavani. Look, we need more than just Cavani. Bear in mind that Cavani missed, half of last season? Certainly the first half. Hardly played at all because he was injured. And I don't think United can rely on Edinson Cavani to be playing every single week across the entire campaign. I have worries about his fitness. And Michael Wood saying, Martial was too hot and cold. He isn't consistent. That's been his challenge. And I think you're absolutely spot on there, my friend. I think that's the thing that sort of plagued Anthony Martial's career at Manchester United. Because when he's good, he's great. But when he's bad, the game just goes past him. It really just, he disappears into the background when he's not on form. But it's when he's on form, he's incredible. Like Victorim here. Thank you very much for super chat, Victorim. You're saying, say what you want about Martial, but I think under the right manager, he can become even a better player and be more consistent and score 20+ goals again. I'll be honest. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right manager to get the most out of him. We've seen the growth of Mason Greenwood. We've seen the growth of Marcus Rashford. We saw the growth of Anthony Martial, not last season, but the season before when he finished on 22 goals. I don't think a new manager is going to be the thing that solves it for Anthony Martial. It's down to himself. Because if he doesn't sort things out, his career is just going to go backwards. And it's all up to him whether he wants that to happen or not. Dark Prince, thank you very much for super chat, my friend, saying this cannot be said enough. The only problem with Paul Pogba is Mino Raiola. That clown is as toxic as it gets. I feel FIFA or FA need to shut him down ASAP. Now, the thing with Mino Raiola is, as fans, we all hate him. But as players, anybody who's represented by Mino Raiola loves him, whether that's Ibrahimovic, whether that's Mkhitaryan, whether that's Paul Pogba or any other player, because he represents a ton of players. They all love what he does because he does not give a flying fuck about the clubs. He just cares about his players and getting the utter best deal for them, and at the same time getting the best deal for himself. And that's where he's toxic, because he gets huge amounts of money from payoffs, from agent fees, and that's why he will always remain toxic. So I do agree with you on that point. Ibro, thank you very much for Super Chat. You're saying, would I keep Pogba? No. 5 years in Manchester, we don't know his best position. Too much frustration, a lot of saga around him. Just let him go. Now, with Paul Pogba, there's always the circus of Paul Pogba, but when he's playing, and he's playing well, he's worth the circus. But in terms of his best position, I think we do know his best position. For me, his best position is in a midfield 3, left centre mid. That's Paul Pogba's best position at Manchester United. But as Jason McCarthy says here, and I keep repeating this, we don't have a central defensive midfielder, so we can't play that midfield 3. So often you're going to see Paul Pogba playing in a midfield 2. And Pogba's not got the discipline to play in that role. And it's not to say that he's a massively that's not a huge slight against him. It's just that's a weakness of his game. And you don't play towards the weaknesses of people's games. You play towards the strengths. And to get the strengths out of Paul Pogba, we need that defensive midfielder. So that's why I've always said that a defensive midfielder is such a priority for Manchester United. Not for the fact that we just need a defensive midfielder, but watch Paul Pogba go skywards if we sign one. That's the thing I really want to see. Victor, and big up for the Super Chat, my friend, saying Martial can play in multiple positions. United must keep him. If something happens to Cavani or Rashford, he is a good replacement for either position. And I do agree with that. He can play multiple positions. I don't really know. If you're talking about, look, Abby, you've just said it right there. Martial is not a number 9. He's too lazy. I think that's a little bit unfair. I think, honestly, if you look at the stats of Martial, I think it will surprise you how mobile he actually is in games. But I don't know whether Martial's a number 9. I don't know whether Martial's a right winger or a left winger. If I'm being honest, I think Martial might be suited better to be in the competition with Marcus Rashford on the left wing. I don't know whether he's a pure number 9. I just don't think he's got that. He does though, and this is the frustration that we've all got with Anthony Martial. Because I was about to say that he doesn't have that ice cold finishing, but mate, some of the finishes he does, unbelievable finisher when he's on form. It's just that, yeah, games can pass him by massively. He's basically 8 out of 10 one week, 3 out of 10 the other week, 1 out of 10 the week after, and then 10 out of 10 the week after that. And in that sense, that's why he's always the player that you can't really rely on, because what you need is someone who's going to be 7 out of 10, like Dennis Irwin, 7, 7, 7 every week, every single week, the same sort of level of performance you're going to get from that player. You know what to expect. They're the sorts of players you can build your team around, and they're the sorts of players that you can build title-winning campaigns around, not players who turn up one week and disappear off the face of the earth the next week. And that is the problem with Anthony Martial. If I'm being honest, I don't think Man United are going to be getting rid of Martial this summer. It doesn't feel like the right time for Manchester United. I think that United, look, we've got Cavani on a 1-year deal. I think that what we're going to be doing next summer is going all out, sign Erling Haaland and Jadon Sancho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer need to get on the phone and start schmoozing him, man. Start schmoozing. And I think at that point, when Cavani leaves, maybe you could see Martial leave as well. Haaland come in and we get someone else. But this summer doesn't really feel like the right summer for it to happen. I think Martial will get 1 more year to prove himself. Martial will get 1 more year to show that he can be that player that Manchester United can rely on. And he needs to improve. He needs to show that he can do that. Before I move on, I'll do a couple more of these bad boys. And look at that. Prince watching from Morocco, Casablanca. I genuinely would love to go to Morocco. Casablanca, Morocco. There you go. Added onto the map, my friend. Welcome to the map. Look at that. We've got Levy watching from Antwerp in Belgium. Wicked. Antwerp. On you go. Great beer in Belgium. Seriously. I love blonde beer. Where have we got? We've got Kota Bara in Malaysia. Let me add that on. Kota Baru from Malaysia. Nice. And one more. We've got Nesbert. No, that's not right. As always, by the way, ladies and gents, try not to spam the comments because there's so many people that are trying to enjoy the stream and trying to watch that it's a bit unfair. Oh, look at that. That's a new one. We've got Ephraim on YouTube watching from Eritrea. Wicked. Let me add that in. Asmara. There you go. Eritrea is on the map. So that's probably the last one we'll have for today. Let's zoom out and see now how the map is looking. 65 map points in 2 days. It's honestly staggering. I keep saying this, but I love how, oh, look how spread it is around the world. Don't forget about New Zealand down here. Haven't forgotten about you, but you just don't fit on the you just don't fit on the bloody map when you go up to here. US of A, we need more. We need more in South America. Is any South Americans watching? You need to get in the comments. We need to get more from Eastern Europe. We need to get more from Northern Africa. There's plenty. But what I'll quickly do now is I'm going to do a quick roundup of the news. If you want to get added to the map, fire in a super chat. If you want any questions you want to ask me, fire in super chats as well, because I miss it because there's too many comments coming through. But the main story today is the fact that Rennes are trying to do a bidding war for Eduardo Camavinga. You've got an article from The Athletic this morning saying that, a switch to Real Madrid or Barcelona appealed to Camavinga, and maybe he'll just wait out his contract and go next year when they've got more money. Bayern Munich are said to be interested. PSG, United, and Rennes, they would love a bidding war. 30 to 40 million is the fee that's being linked with Camavinga. They obviously will want 40 to 50. They want as much as possible. I said it as an analogy earlier. It's like doing an open viewing on your house, getting 7 people in the door and forcing a bidding war behind the scenes. That's, I think, is what Rennes are trying to do. Fabrizio Romano here saying that an offer is going to come in the next few days, but Man United are serious about signing him. That's exciting. Let's see what happens, and I hope that does happen. And Fabrizio going one step further and saying, look, he will 100% not extend his contract, so he will leave this summer. Maybe Paul Pogba will leave as well. We had a big discussion about Pogba, about PSG, about whether he should stay or not, and it's confusing. It really is confusing. Gung Shi with a big super chat saying, look, if you're really contending for the Premier League title, you can't go and let your best players leave. And that's a very good point. You've got Victor in here saying, where do I live in England? I live in Essex. I lived in London, South London for 10 years, Victor. But I'm back in Essex at the moment. Loving it. Why not? Going to be in London on Sunday, though, for the game, the England game. Going to be near Wembley. Can't wait for that. Then we had a little conversation about Raphael Varane. I said, this is probably this strikes me as the transfer that's going to drag on this summer. We had an update a couple of days ago from Sky Sports that United have been given permission to speak to Raphael Varane's agent, but there's not been an update on that just yet. Got Berbatov saying that United should be signing Kalvyn Phillips. So we had a discussion about Kalvyn Phillips. We had a quick look at his stats and how he's been playing for England at the Euros and how he's really quite a box-to-box midfielder rather than a defensive midfielder that we need. Then I didn't have a conversation about this. Tahith Chong set for a loan move to Birmingham. Good move. Was it Bruges he was on loan last year? I think Tahith Chong certainly needs more loan spell. He struck me. He was so raw when he came into the first team that he just wasn't ready for it. And I think it's a good idea to get a loan move out in the Championship as well. And the Championship's so competitive, that will certainly help make him a better player. And then we had a big discussion there about Anthony Martial and whether he should stay or not, whether United should sell him. It's confusing. But there's a lot going on this summer. There really is a lot going on this summer. And I'll be here covering it all every morning, 9:30 on this live stream. And you will be firing in your super chats. You'll be firing in your comments where you're watching it from. Thank you very much for your engagement and your interaction today. I really love doing these. As I keep saying every single day, you're all joining in around the world. I love answering your comments. If you're watching on YouTube and you're new, make sure you please drop a like on the video because I know all of you haven't pressed like on this video yet. So smash that like button. Come on. It's free. Help me out, please. Thank you all for your super chats that you've sent in. It's a big help to the channel. And if you're new, subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you share. And something I'll be doing in the next few days, so keep an eye out on this. I'm going to be bringing out the new member schemes for YouTube and Facebook, so you can all get directly involved, more content behind the scenes, lots of stuff. That'll be exciting. I'm working on that at the moment, but thank you all for joining in this morning. I'll be back later on today if there's any big updates. If there's not, I'll see you. Was it? I don't know. Might not see you tomorrow morning. It's Saturday. Or maybe I will. Depends how I'm feeling. You can let me know in the comments, and actually go over to Twitter, follow me at @SamPeoples_. Until actually, no, there's it up. I can't leave yet because Victorim has sent me a super chat. Hopefully, I'll get to meet you one day. My dream holiday is to go to England and watch United live at Theatre of Dreams. It's a beautiful place, Victorim. Get there for the game against Leeds, opening day, game of the season. That'll be wonderful. I'd love to go to Australia. I'd love to visit all around the world. I'm a big fan of traveling, so I'm sure maybe I'll get to meet plenty of you in the next year or two. But thank you all very much for your comments and everything.